The doorbell rang at exactly 7:15 on a Tuesday evening. I remember looking at the clock on the microwave because I was just about to sit down with my dinner, a grilled cheese sandwich and a bowl of tomato soup. Nothing special, just the same thing I'd been eating most nights for the past 5 years. I wiped my hands on my jeans and walked to the front door. I wasn't expecting anyone. My neighbors knew I liked my quiet evenings. The mail had already come. My son, Tommy, had called earlier to say goodnight. Everything was normal, quiet, predictable. I opened the door and felt the air leave my lungs. She was standing there. My ex-wife. 5 years. 5 years since she'd walked out the door with 2 suitcases and a cold goodbye. She looked different, thinner, more tired. Her hair was shorter, streaked with gray. I didn't remember. She was wearing clothes that looked expensive but worn, like she'd been living in them. "Robert," she said. Her voice was small, uncertain. I couldn't speak. I just stood there staring at her. My heart was pounding. My hands were shaking. All those years I'd spent trying to forget her face, trying to move on, trying to rebuild my life without her. And here she was, standing on my porch like she'd never left. "Please," she said, "can I come in? Just for a minute. I need to talk to you." I opened my mouth to say something, anything, but no words came out. I felt frozen, trapped. My mind was racing. Why was she here? What did she want? After everything she'd done, after the way she'd left, after all the pain she'd caused. Why now? Then I heard footsteps behind me, soft footsteps, familiar footsteps. "Dad? Who's at the door?" I turned. It was Margaret, my neighbor from across the street. She'd been coming over every night for the past 6 months, just to keep me company, just to make sure I was eating something other than frozen dinners. I'd started to look forward to her visits, her laugh, her kindness, the way she'd bring over fresh-baked bread or a casserole she'd made. Margaret walked up behind me and peered around my shoulder. She smiled warmly, the way she always did. "Oh, I'm sorry," she said. "I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to bring you some of that apple pie I was telling you about, the one with the crumb topping." She held up a plate covered in foil. Steam was rising from the edges. The smell of cinnamon and baked apples drifted into the entryway. Then Margaret looked past me and saw the woman on the porch. My ex-wife. The smile on her face flickered. She didn't know who this stranger was, but she could see something in my eyes. Confusion. Pain. Panic. I looked at Margaret. Then I looked at my ex-wife. Then I looked back at Margaret. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. "Is everything okay, Robert?" Margaret asked quietly. Her voice was soft, gentle. There was no suspicion in it, just concern, just care. My ex-wife looked at Margaret. Her eyes narrowed. I saw something flash across her face. Jealousy? Anger? I couldn't tell. She shifted her weight from one foot to the other. "Who is this?" she asked. Her voice was cold now, hard, the same tone she used to use when she was accusing me of something I hadn't done. I finally found my voice. It came out rough, uneven. "This is Margaret," I said. "She's my neighbor." "Your neighbor," my ex-wife repeated. She let out a short laugh. "Your neighbor answers your door at 7 o'clock at night with homemade pie?" "Margaret is my neighbor and my friend," I said. My voice got a little stronger. "And she's welcome in my home anytime she wants to be." My ex-wife stared at me. Then she stared at Margaret. The silence stretched between us like a rubber band about to snap. "I need to speak with you," my ex-wife said. "In private." "Please," I shook my head. "Whatever you have to say, you can say it right here." "This is ridiculous," she said. "I drove all this way. I need to talk to you alone. This is serious." I didn't move. 5 years, I said. 5 years, Carol. No phone calls, no letters, nothing. And now you show up at my door and expect me to drop everything? Expect me to let you in like nothing happened? Margaret stepped forward. She touched my arm lightly. "Robert, maybe I should go. I can come back later." "No," I said. "You stay right here. You don't need to leave." Carol let out a bitter laugh. "I see how it is. You've replaced me. Already. With a woman who bakes pies. It's not like that," I said. "It's never been like that. Margaret has been a good friend to me. A real friend. The kind of friend who's there when times are hard. The kind of friend who doesn't abandon people when things get tough." Carol's face went pale. She looked away. "That's not fair. It's not fair?" I felt my voice rising. The anger I'd suppressed for 5 years was bubbling to the surface. "You want to talk about fair, Carol? Fair was you leaving without a word. Fair was you taking half of everything we built together and walking out the door. Fair was you leaving me alone with a 9-year-old son who didn't understand why his mother didn't love him enough to stay. She flinched. I saw it. The first crack in that cold exterior. I didn't leave him, she said quietly. I left you. Same thing, I said. You left both of us. You walked away from your family. You walked away from every marriage. You walked away from everything. I stopped. I was breathing hard. My hands were clenched into fists at my sides. I realized I was shaking, not from anger, from pain. The pain I'd buried for years was pouring out of me. Margaret touched my arm again. Her hand was warm, steady. Come inside, she said. Both of you. Let's sit down and talk about this like reasonable people. Whatever it is, you can work it out. I looked at her. She was looking at me with those kind eyes, the eyes that had seen me at my lowest, the eyes that had never judged me, the eyes that always made me feel like I wasn't alone. I nodded. I didn't have the energy to fight anymore. The three of us walked into my living room. It was small, nothing fancy, a worn couch, an old recliner, some photos on the wall, a few books on the shelf. A comfortable place, a place that finally felt like home. I sat down in the recliner. Carol sat on the edge of the couch, perched like a bird ready to fly away. Margaret sat in a wooden chair nearby, quiet, steady, present. Before we start, I said, let's get the obvious question out of the way. Why are you here, Carol? Why now, after 5 years of silence? She looked down at her hands. They were twisting together in her lap. She looked nervous. She never used to look nervous. I need help, she said. I don't have anywhere else to go. I stared at her. You need help. That's why you're here. I know it's not fair, she said. I know I don't have any right to ask, but I'm desperate. I'm in trouble, and you're the only person I could think of. I felt a flicker of anger, then a flicker of something else, something I didn't want to feel, pity. What happened? I asked. What kind of trouble? She took a shaky breath. When I left, I was with someone. You knew that. I told you I'd met someone else. That's why I left. I nodded. I remembered. A man from her work. Younger. Handsome. Charismatic. She told me she'd fallen out of love with me. That she needed something new. Something exciting. Something I couldn't give her. What happened to him? I asked. Todd, she said. His name was Todd. And he was a liar. He was a charmer. He made me feel young again. He made me feel special. He said all the right things. But it was all fake. He was using me. He'd been using me from the beginning. He'd already been married before. He'd done the same thing to her. He wanted my savings, my retirement, everything I'd worked for. I felt a sinking feeling in my stomach. And you gave it to him. I thought I was in love, she said. I thought he was the man I was meant to be with. I was so stupid, so incredibly stupid. How much? I asked. She didn't answer at first. She just stared at the floor. When she spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. Everything. Everything I had. He cleaned me out, and then he left. Just like that. One day he was there, and the next day he was gone. I had nothing. Nothing. I leaned back in my chair. I didn't know what to say. The woman who had left me for a younger, richer man was now sitting in my living room, broke and desperate. And now? I said. What do you want from me? I need a place to stay, she said, just temporarily, just until I can get back on my feet. I don't have anywhere else to go. I stared at her. The woman who had destroyed my life. The woman who had broken my son's heart. The woman who had walked out on her family without a backward glance. You want to stay here, I said slowly. Here. In this house. The house you left. Just for a little while, she said. Please, I'm begging you. I opened my mouth to say no. A hard no. A final no. The no she deserved. The no I'd been rehearsing in my head for 5 years. But before I could speak, Margaret stood up. Robert, she said, can I talk to you for a minute? Privately? I looked at her. There was something in her eyes. Something patient. Something wise. I nodded. We walked into the kitchen. I closed the door behind us. What are you doing? I whispered. Why are you helping her? After everything she's done? Margaret put her hand on my arm. I'm not helping her, Robert. I'm helping you. She's a human being, a broken human being, and she came to you because she doesn't have anyone else. I don't care, I said. She abandoned us. She left me with a 9-year-old boy. He didn't understand why his mother was gone. He cried himself to sleep for months, and she never even called. Not once. I know, Margaret said. And it's terrible. What she did was terrible. But you're not the kind of man who turns away someone in need, no matter who they are. Watch me, I said. Margaret smiled, a sad smile. You won't. You can't. That's not who you are. You're the man who helps stray animals, the man who shovels my driveway when it snows, the man who volunteers at the community center. You don't turn your back on people who need you. I opened my mouth to argue, but she was right. She was always right. I'm not saying you have to let her stay here, Margaret said. I'm saying you have to be honest with yourself. If you turn her away, you're going to feel guilty. You're going to lose sleep. You're going to wonder if you could have helped. And that guilt is going to eat away at you. I closed my eyes. I could already feel it. The guilt, the conflict, the exhaustion. You're too good, I said. You're way too good. Margaret laughed softly. I'm not that good. I just know you, and I know you're a good man. I looked at her. This woman who had walked into my life when I least expected it. This woman who had become my friend, my confidant, the person I looked forward to seeing every day. What would I do without you? I asked. She squeezed my arm. Let's not find out. Let's just figure out how to handle this together. We walked back into the living room. Carol was still sitting on the edge of the couch. She looked up when we walked in. Her eyes were red. Look, I said, I'm not going to say yes right now. I need to think about this, but I'm not going to say no either. Carol's face lit up with hope. Thank you. Thank you, Robert. I promise I'll pay you back. I promise I'll make it up to you. I'll call you tomorrow, I said. I need some time. She nodded. She stood up and walked toward the door. She stopped at the entrance and turned back. I know I don't deserve your kindness, she said. I know I don't deserve anything from you, but thank you for at least considering it. Then she walked out the door and into the night. I closed the door behind her and leaned against it. My legs felt weak. My head was spinning. You okay? Margaret asked. I shook my head. No, I'm not okay. She walked over and put her hands on my shoulders. Sit down. I'll make you some tea. Margaret, Sit down, she said firmly. You've had a shock. You need to rest. I sat down on the couch. Margaret went into the kitchen and I heard her filling the kettle. The familiar sounds of her moving around my kitchen, opening cupboards, finding the mugs, the whistle of the kettle. She came back with 2 steaming mugs. She handed one to me and sat down on the couch beside me. What am I going to do? I asked. How am I supposed to make this decision? You're going to do what's right for you, she said. Not for her, for you, and for Tommy. Tommy, my son. He was 14 now, a teenager. He'd grown up so fast. He was a good kid, kind, smart, but he'd never forgiven his mother for leaving. I'd never forced him to. I couldn't. He's going to hate this, I said. If I let her stay here, he's going to hate it. He's going to feel like I'm betraying him. Maybe, Margaret said, or maybe he'll understand. He's older now. He might be more mature than you think. He doesn't even know she's back, I said. I haven't told him. You should tell him, Margaret said. He deserves to know, and he deserves to have a say in what happens. I nodded slowly. You're right. I know you're right. Tell him tomorrow, she said. And whatever you decide, I'll be here. I'll be right across the street. You're not alone in this, Robert. You haven't been alone for a long time. I looked at her. She was right. I hadn't been alone. Not really. Even before Carol showed up, I hadn't been alone. I had Margaret. I had my son. I had a good life, a peaceful life, a life I'd rebuilt piece by piece. And now Carol was back, threatening to tear it all down again. The next morning, I called Tommy. He came over after school. I sat him down at the kitchen table and told him everything. About his mother's visit, about Todd, about her losing everything, about her asking to stay with us. Tommy didn't say anything for a long time. He just stared at the table. She left us, he said finally. She walked out the door and didn't look back. And now she wants to come back? I know, I said. I know it's not fair. And I know you're angry. You have every right to be. What are you going to do? He asked. I don't know, Tommy. That's why I wanted to talk to you. Because this affects you too. Whatever I decide, it's going to affect you. He was quiet again. I could see him thinking, processing. My little boy, who was now almost taller than me. Dad, I remember something, he said. When I was little, before she left, I remember her being happy. I remember her laughing. I remember her tucking me in at night. I thought she was the best mom in the world. She was, I said. Sometimes. She was a good mother. For a while. Then she got sad, he said. She got angry all the time. She yelled at you all the time. I know, I said. It was hard. For all of us. She's my mother, he said. I hate her sometimes. But I don't know. I want to hate her completely. But I can't. There's still a part of me that I guess I still love her. I felt a lump in my throat. I know what you mean. I feel the same way. So, what if she does need help? Tommy said. What if she's really sorry? What if she's really changed? I don't know if she's changed, I said. I don't know if she's capable of change. But she's still your mother, and she's still a human being, and she's lost everything. So you're going to help her? I looked at my son who had grown up without his mother, my son who had learned to be strong and kind and forgiving despite everything he'd been through. I think I have to, I said. Not for her, for me. Because if I turn her away, I'll never be able to live with myself. I'll always wonder if I could have helped, Tommy nodded. Okay, if that's what you need to do, I'll support you. But I'm not going to pretend everything's fine. I'm not going to act like she's my hero. That's all I'm asking, I said. You don't have to pretend. Later that evening, I called Carol. I told her she could come stay for a while, just until she got back on her feet. She cried on the phone, told me I was a good man, told me she didn't deserve my kindness. She was right. She didn't. But that didn't matter anymore. The first few weeks were awkward. Carol slept in the guest room. She kept to herself mostly. She'd come out for meals and then retreat back to her room. Tommy avoided her. He was polite, but distant. He couldn't bring himself to look at her. Margaret came over as usual. She was a constant presence, a steady anchor. She didn't ask questions. She didn't judge. She just showed up with food and conversation and warmth. One night, after Carol had gone to her room, Margaret and I were sitting on the porch. The stars were out. A cool breeze was blowing. It was quiet and peaceful. You're doing the right thing, Margaret said. I don't know, I said. I don't know if there is a right thing. There is, she said. You're showing her kindness. Even though she doesn't deserve it, you're showing her grace. And that's what good people do. I looked at her. The moon was full, lighting up her face. She was beautiful, not in the flashy way Carol used to be. Beautiful in a quiet way, in a gentle way, in a way that made me feel safe. Thank you, I said, for everything, for being here. I don't know what I'd do without you, she smiled. You'd probably be eating frozen dinners and watching old movies by yourself. You're not wrong, I said, laughing. She laughed too. Then she reached over and took my hand. Her fingers were warm, soft. Robert, she said, I need to tell you something. What? I asked. I've been thinking about this for a while, she said, and I've been trying to figure out the right time. But I don't think there's ever going to be a perfect time. What are you talking about? She took a deep breath. I care about you, more than just a friend. I think you know that. I felt my heart start beating faster. Margaret, I know you have a lot to deal with right now, she said quickly. I know your situation is complicated, and I'm not trying to pressure you into anything. I wanted you to know that I'm here, and I'll always be here, no matter what you decide. I looked at her. This woman who had come into my life when I least expected it. This woman who had shown me that I could love again. This woman who had made me feel like I wasn't just a broken, lonely man. Margaret, I said, I care about you too, more than I've ever said. But I need to figure some things out first. I need to figure out what I'm going to do about Carol. I need to be fair to Tommy. I need to be fair to you. She smiled. I know, and I'll wait. I've been waiting this long. I can wait a little longer. She squeezed my hand, and we sat on the porch together, looking at the stars. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like things might be okay. 2 months passed. Carol started to get back on her feet. She found a job at a small store downtown. She was saving money, looking for an apartment. The tension in the house slowly started to ease. One night, Carol came into the living room while I was reading. Margaret had just left. She'd brought over a pot roast and some vegetables. We'd eaten together, the three of us, and it had almost felt like a normal dinner. Robert, Carol said, can I talk to you? I put down my book. Sure. What about? She sat down in the chair across from me. I know I've said this before, but I want to say it again. I'm sorry. For everything. I know you are, I said. I've been watching you, she said, these past 2 months. I've seen how you are, how you treat people, how you treat Tommy, how you treat Margaret. You're a good man, Robert. You always were. I just didn't appreciate it. I didn't say anything. I'm leaving soon, she said. I found an apartment. It's small, but it's mine. I'll be gone by the end of the week. That's good, I said. I'm happy for you. I don't deserve your happiness, she said. But thank you for everything, for taking me in when you didn't have to. You're welcome, I said. She stood up. She paused at the door. Robert, one more thing. Margaret, she's good for you. I can see it. You're different when you're around her. Happier. Lighter. I know I don't have any right to say this, but don't let her go. Don't make the same mistake I made. She walked out of the room. I sat there, stunned. That was the last time we talked. A few days later, Carol moved into her apartment. I helped her move her things. We said goodbye on the street outside. It was a simple goodbye, no tears, no drama, just two people who had shared a life together, saying goodbye one last time. The next evening, I walked across the street to Margaret's house. I knocked on her door. She opened it and smiled. Robert, she said, what are you doing here? Can I come in? I asked. She stepped aside. I walked into her living room. It was small and cozy, full of books and plants and pictures of her family. It felt like home. I turned to face her. Margaret, I've been thinking about what you said, about caring about me, and I realized I've been running from something. What's that? She asked. The truth, I said. The truth is I care about you too, more than you know. And I've been so afraid of getting hurt again that I've been holding back, but I don't want to hold back anymore. She walked toward me. What are you saying? I'm saying I want to give us a chance, I said. I don't know where this is going to go, but I want to find out. Together, she smiled. A beautiful, radiant smile. She reached up and touched my face. I've been waiting for you to say that, she said. She kissed me. It was soft and sweet and perfect. And for the first time in 5 years, I felt like I was home. We stood there in her living room, holding each other. The sun was setting outside, casting a warm golden light through the windows. It was quiet and peaceful and beautiful. I love you, Margaret, I said. She looked up at me. Her eyes were bright with tears. I love you too, Robert. I've loved you for a long time. We sat on her couch and talked for hours. About everything. Our lives. Our hopes. Our fears. It was like we were making up for lost time. And for once, I didn't feel weighed down by the past. I felt free. I felt hopeful. I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. 3 years later, we got married. It was a small wedding. Just family and a few close friends. Tommy was my best man. He'd grown so much. He'd even started talking to his mother again. Not often, but enough. He'd found a way to forgive her. He'd found a way to move on. And Margaret? She was my partner, my friend, my love. She'd been there for me through everything. And I'd been there for her. That's what real love is. It's not about grand gestures or perfect moments. It's about showing up, day after day, year after year. Carol stayed away. She got her life together. She was doing okay. She didn't come to the wedding, and I didn't expect her to. But she sent a card. A simple card with a simple message. I'm happy for you. You deserve to be happy. Thank you for showing me what grace looks like. I kept the card in my nightstand drawer, not because I needed to remember her, but because I needed to remember the lesson. The lesson that even when people hurt you, even when they abandon you, even when they break your heart, you can still choose kindness. You can still choose forgiveness. You can still choose to be the better person. My ex-wife returned after 5 years. She came back asking for help, for forgiveness, for a second chance. And my neighbor answered the door. But she didn't just answer the door. She opened my heart. She showed me what love really looks like. She showed me that sometimes the greatest gifts come from the most unexpected places. That night, when Margaret answered the door, I didn't know it at the time. But she was answering something else too. She was answering the question I'd been asking myself for years. The question of whether I could love again. The question of whether I could trust again. The question of whether I could let go of the past and embrace the future. And the answer was yes. Yes, I could. Yes, I did. Yes, I will. Because that's what life is. It's not about the mistakes you make. It's about what you do afterward. It's about who you become. It's about the people you let in. The people you love. The people who love you back. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Love isn't about finding someone perfect. It's about finding someone who sees your imperfections and loves you anyway. Someone who stands by you through the hard times. Someone who answers the door when you least expect it. And someone who stays, even when it would be easier to leave. Thank you for spending your time with Heartline Stories Truth. If this story stayed with you, subscribe for more original stories about family, resilience, healing, and hope. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see you in the next story.